Hey, I just wanted to do a little update on this video I did last night about this latest announcement from Lindsey Williams, where basically I've never seen anything like this from him, even though I've followed his quote-unquote work for years. He's basically saying that his powers that be / elitist buddy is warning him that the big one everybody's been worried about may actually be here within the next 3 months. Down here he quotes his buddy saying that, let's remember this is going to be the biggest financial event in the last 1,000 years, at least from his perspective. Every person on the globe will be affected, causing starvation, riots, and possibly even martial law. This is a big, big event. One thing I had a question about here is, he says IMF, and I have to assume by that he means the International Monetary Fund, which basically they say is a United Nations organization comprised of 188 different nations involved in world monetary policy, although it's always been my understanding they got their start after World War II to essentially go in and loan money to the various countries to help rebuild everything that was destroyed during the war. I guess I'm not really sure what the IMF could do. It's going to cause this 1,000-year financial catastrophe, so I'm a little bit curious about that. One other thought about the IMF, if you ever read John Perkins' books, like A Diary of an Economic Hitman, you'll recognize these guys' name. Essentially, according to John, this is one of the tools that these elitist powers that be bastards use to take down third world nations. Essentially what they'll do is go in and propose some major public works project. Maybe they'll go into some small Central American project or country that doesn't have a lot of electrification. Propose some big hydroelectric dam project, as well as putting up a grid. It's going to cost into the billions and billions of dollars. And of course, the nice IMF guys will loan the money to this country to do all this, knowing full well that the country will never be able to pay it back. And then when they can't pay it back, they'll come in and essentially divide the resources of the company and dole it out to major corporations that they own throughout the world. For example, if a lot of the countries down in Central and South America, the public utilities and telephone companies are all public interests. So what they'll do is take and sell those off so they're no longer belong to the people, and then all these big elitist companies will profit from ever forward. I've seen it happen in Brazil. They took all the telephone companies there and sold it off to companies from Canada, the U.S., Spain, I believe. Did the same thing with the bus companies, the public transportation. And the other thing they do is a lot of times the big construction projects like the hydroelectric dams, those will be doled out to companies that are controlled by these elitists. I'm not going to mention any names because I can't fight their lawyers, but if you read John Perkins' books, he does name them who they are. All right, just want to throw that in there as well. Anyway, I also talked about why should we believe this Lindsey Williams guy? Who is he? And there's just a whole bunch of doomsday tellers on the internet. And I related that just the night before I had heard something on Coast to Coast where a woman had called in and said that someone from the Pentagon had informed his daughter that something big was going to be coming after January 15th. Well, I found that clip, so I want to go ahead and play it for you so you can hear for yourself. So here it comes right now.
A couple of weeks ago, my kids work for a nationwide large company, and she was talking to one of the women that worked there, and her father works for the Pentagon, and he called her and he told her that after January 15th of 2014, that this country is going to go into, now he didn't say exactly when after January 15th, but this country is going to go into total chaos. He told her to start saving food, water, and putting all this away, that the cost of gasoline is going to skyrocket. And he told her that people that live in the cities are going to be fighting like crazy for food because there's going to be a major shortage of food.
Did he say what was going to cause all this?
No.
He did not.
he was just warning her to start putting all this away. He works in the Pentagon, and he said, I'm telling you, I'm warning you to start putting food and water and everything away and start saving it for yourself. And she was going to buy a house, and he told her he would prefer she bought one in the country and not in the city, because he said if she bought one in the city, she'd be right in the middle of all this chaos.
Something else I had talked about in the video last night was Bitcoin. If in fact there's going to be some major worldwide financial catastrophe, what role is this new digital currency going to play, if any? Is it going to be a safe harbor for people to flock to? Or is this going to pretty much go down to zero like everything else? One of the comments I made was that I didn't know what the market capitalization of the Bitcoin was these days, but I figured it was in the tens to hundreds of millions of dollars. And with the market so small, I'm really just trying to make the point that it's very easily manipulated. Well, a nice person came along and did post something for me, a comment there that said it was around $8 billion, and I found this webpage here, blockchain.info, and they're showing that the market capitalization's pretty close to $9 billion these days, so it's a lot more than I thought it was. Essentially, all the market capitalization is you take all of the shares or the Bitcoins in existence and you multiply that number times their current value. So say, for example, if there's 1 million Bitcoins out there and they're worth $10 a piece, well, then the market cap of Bitcoin is $10 million. But even $9 billion is still relatively small compared to the gross national income of the United States in 2012. Here you can see it's almost $16 trillion. So if we're looking at, say 8-9 billion, and see decimal places 1, 2, 3, 4, it's about an order of 4 times as much as what Bitcoin is. So it's still relatively insignificant as far as the worldwide scope of things.